My graduation cake was sitting on the edge of the patio table, decorated with blue icing that spelled out my name. Before I could even slice it, my 10-year-old nephew ran past and slammed his hand right into the display. White frosting exploded across the concrete, splattering my shoes while the ceramic plate shattered into tiny pieces. Nobody scolded him or told him to apologize. Instead, my mother started laughing louder than anyone else, telling me not to be so sensitive when I froze with the serving knife still in my hand. I was born and raised in Idaho, but I moved to Oregon 3 years ago to pursue my degree while working full-time. My family always treated me like the dependable child who never needed help or attention. My sister Chloe was the golden child, and my mother Nora constantly showered her with expensive gifts and constant praise. Whenever Chloe needed financial help, my mother would convince me to step in and save the day. I spent years trying to buy their love, hoping that one day my hard work would finally be recognized. That afternoon was supposed to be a celebration for my graduation, but my family turned it into a showcase for my sister. Nora spent hours bragging about Chloe taking an extra vacation week, completely ignoring the fact that I had just finished 4 years of college. My cake had been shoved into a dusty corner next to empty soda cans and crumpled paper napkins. I stood there watching my relatives chat, realizing that my achievement meant absolutely nothing to the people who were supposed to care about me the most. When my nephew destroyed my cake, he smirked and yelled for me to eat it off the dirt. Hearing my mother roar with laughter at his cruel joke broke something fundamental inside of me. I slowly set the serving knife down on the table, untied my apron, and walked straight toward my car without saying a single word. Nobody tried to stop me or ask where I was going. Their mocking voices faded into the cool evening air as I pulled out of the driveway and began the long drive back home. I drove through the dark highway for hours, gripping the steering wheel until my knuckles turned completely white. The memory of my mother chuckling at my humiliation kept echoing in my mind alongside the image of my ruined cake. By the time I reached my apartment, it was way past midnight and rain was pouring against my bedroom window. I dropped my keys on the counter, feeling completely numb, and noticed my phone glowing with a new text message from my mother. The message stated that my family had decided to sever all contact with me and demanded that I stay away forever. A second later, my sister added a tiny heart icon to the text to show her full agreement. I stared at the screen without shedding a single tear because my sadness had suddenly transformed into absolute clarity. I opened my personal budget file on my computer and looked at 2 massive monthly expenses that I had been paying faithfully for the past 3 years. When my parents bought their house and my sister wanted a luxury vehicle, neither of them had the credit score to secure the loans. My mother had begged me to co-sign both accounts, promising that I was just helping the family get on their feet. I had been paying over $1,000 every single month to cover their mortgage and car payments while they treated me like garbage. I opened my bank application, submitted a request to remove my name from both accounts, and sent one final confirmation email. By 9 o'clock the following morning, my phone was exploding with dozens of missed calls and angry messages from my family. Nora was furious that the lenders were demanding immediate payment from her, accusing me of betraying the people who raised me. Chloe sent voice notes screaming that her vehicle was about to be repossessed because her account was suddenly frozen. None of their panic messages contained an apology for how they had treated me at the party, proving that they only valued my money. I dressed casually and drove straight to the central bank branch to meet with a senior credit supervisor named Arthur. I presented him with my lease history, payment proofs, and text messages showing that I held no actual ownership of the property or vehicle. Arthur reviewed the evidence carefully, shook his head in disgust at the manipulation, and officially signed the paperwork releasing me from all financial liability. Leaving that building felt like lifting a crushing mountain off my chest after years of suffocating silence. Later that evening, my sister sent a message demanding to know how I could ruin their lives over a simple joke. I typed back a single sentence explaining that I simply stopped paying bills for people who laughed when my cake hit the ground. 3 days later, loud banging rattled my apartment door as my mother and sister stood in the hallway screaming for me to unlock the entrance. Instead of arguing, I quietly used my phone app to report 2 angry trespassers to local law enforcement. Officers arrived within 10 minutes and informed my mother that she had no legal right to harass an adult on private property. Nora screamed that blood relatives cannot treat each other like enemies, but the police escorted both of them off the premises anyway. The next day, my mother posted malicious lies on social media claiming I stole money from my own family, but I refused to engage with her desperate drama. Within a week, the bank finalized my paperwork, rendering their public slander completely harmless and irrelevant. A full year has passed since that stormy night, and my life has transformed into something peaceful and genuinely beautiful. I received a major promotion at my technology firm, bought my own home, and surrounded myself with true friends who value my presence. My sister recently sent a brief text apologizing for everything, but I chose to leave it unread and move forward with my life. True freedom comes from knowing when to walk away, so if you want more empowering stories like this, please subscribe and click the video on your end screen now.